If your reaction to what you just witnessed was holy moly, inject this game into my brain right now, then Angerfoot might just be the game for you. In today's video, I'll be breaking down the various elements of the game, which is in essence a Hotline Miami in first person with a big emphasis on kicking down doors and enemies to see if it's worth playing or not. The game is wild, it's absurd, it makes no sense. It's a creature in a late night rave and it wants to party. Angerfoot is not just your average boomer shooter though that you've seen in the last few years, as it's rather designed to tune you into a choreographed killing machine. So lace up, stretch those quads and get ready for today's review of Angerfoot. Alright, so picture this. Hotline Miami and Roadhouse had a love child and that baby was raised on a strict diet of Monster Energy drink and filthy techno music. That, my friends, is the fever dream we call Angerfoot. In this game, you play as the appropriately named Angerfoot, a dude just trying to live his best life with his sweet sneakers, chilling at home with his vaping girlfriend while you eat popcorn and watch movies. It's 2024 life in a nutshell. Developed by Free Lives, a South African dev team behind great games like Broforce and Gorn, and as a fellow South African, I'm a huge supporter of their work, as their previous titles were really special in their own way. Oh yeah, and it's also published by Devolver Digital. And with Hotline Miami being one of my most favorite games of all time, yeah, you could say I was a little hyped for this game. Angerfoot follows Hotline Miami in a similar gameplay mechanic too. You'll need to complete levels by killing enemies located in various rooms, using either guns or your feet. Getting hit a few times means certain death, meaning a lot of strategy comes into play, making it almost like a puzzle game instead. If you're a fan of games like Hotline Miami, My Friend Pedro, and even Katana Zero, keep watching this video. And even if you've never heard of these, then still keep watching as this game might sure surprise you. The story is set in a place called, and I kid you not, Shit City, but the plot is surprisingly deep. See, your precious pair of sneakers, or tekkies, have been stolen by gang members, and you want to get them back. That's pretty much it. There are 4 gangs that you'll need to take down: the Violence Gang, the Pollution Gang, the Business Gang, and of course the Debauchery Gang, with all 4 gangs being under the supervision of the shadowy Crime Minister. Everyone loves crime in this game. They love talking about it, they love thinking about it, they love doing it, even the cops get involved. Now, the devs have claimed that it's based on the city Johannesburg, which is in South Africa, and it's where I was born and raised. So playing this game, knowing that, I was like, somewhat offense taken, but also I see where they're coming from, as if you've been out in Newtown after 2 AM after a rave, then this is pretty much what you'll see. There are about 60 levels in the game, each taking around 1 to 2 minutes to complete, but obviously you'll be dying plenty of times. So the average runtime of the game will be about 6 to 10 hours, depending on your skill level. And as you can tell, this game does not take itself seriously at all, from its corny toilet humor to its ridiculous enemies, except when it comes to that soundtrack. Man, it is hectic. Later in the video, I'll get to how it helps with the replayability, but up next, I'll be explaining the gameplay mechanics, so stay tuned for that, as yeah, there's a lot more here than meets the foot. And if you're enjoying these videos that I'm making here, perhaps consider subscribing or even becoming a member, as it'll help you find the next game to get lost in, and it'll help my channel keep going. Great, so let's jump into the gameplay. Angerfoot is all about speed, brutality, and kicking down more doors than a SWAT team after 5 espressos. Each level is a lightning fast sprint to the exit, leaving a trail of broken doors and battered baddies in your wake. The controls are tight, responsive, and simple enough that your muscle memory will be doing the heavy lifting while your brain tries to process the insanity unfolding on the screen. The game's split into 4 distinct zones, each with their own wacky theme. We're talking about your weed-smoking friend's apartment, the sewers, office buildings, and an underground nightclub. All have their own dark, dank vibes with them that reflect the artwork on the posters scattered throughout the levels. The whole thing just oozes with this bizarre 90s cartoon energy that took me right back to the days of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, except that they're all on drugs. Going through the levels, you'll notice an almost palpable level of character in the game as well. Bright, bold neon colors that match the enemies and environment. You feel like you've been teleported into this gangster place with all this graffiti and posters of acid-like decals and vulgar language. It's a trip, I tell you. When it comes to the fighting, you can take a couple of hits before biting the dust, and a few seconds out of the line of fire will help regen your health. This helps keep the flow of the game smooth and cuts down on frustrating restarts, because trust me, you're going to be dying a lot and you're going to be restarting plenty of times. So having some time to recover is a godsend. And of course the star of the show, that's your feet, baby. So sweet feet, yeah. See, the devs loved SWAT 4. Actually, it was that game more than Hotline Miami that helped inspire them to make Angerfoot. So, like with a SWAT team, they wanted a way to bust through a door, and what better way to do that than with your foot? Makes total sense. And kicking enemies is just so fun. The ability to wear different shoes before each level, each with their own special ability, like the explosive door kicks, or the sliding kicks, or these damn slow-mos when kicking down doors, and I'll get to these in a bit, but they're very satisfying. You also get different weapons to spice things up too, with a solid variety and some key standout players there. Getting through a level generally means kicking and blasting your way through various rooms, and these get harder as you progress. And because it's in first person, you can't see what's behind the next door. I mean, it could be anything. It could be another door, it could be a room full of toasters. But it could also be like 20 alligators, 10 blue guys, or more, which you weren't expecting, and bam, now you're dead. You'll try again, and then you die to something else, and then again, but this time to a place a little further forward. But now you're memorizing enemy locations and how they attack you. Your heart pumps as the music heightens before you kick down the next door, but now you're effortlessly blasting through enemies like that dancing lady in The Sound of Music. It's a beautiful ballet of destruction, and when you're in the zone, there's nothing quite like it. Each enemy takes about one hit to kill them though, but don't let that fool you. Eventually you'll encounter tougher ones that have better weapons, better armor, and grenades, and I guess bombs for heads. Yeah, the enemy variety in Angerfoot is crazy. It gives you enough variation to make sure that each run keeps you on your toes. Your primary attack, you may have guessed by now, is your foot, or your feet if you jump in the air, which you can do, and it's what you'll need in the various platforming sections. But there's also an assortment of weapons ranging from a simple handgun to shotguns and Uzis. Speaking of weapons, let's examine the tools of our trade here. Angerfoot doesn't give you a massive arsenal, but what there is here is pure quality. You've got your holy trinity of FPS goodness here, the pistol, SMG and shotgun. Each of these feel meaty and satisfying in their own way, especially that shotgun, my gosh. Angerfoot's shotgun deserves a place of honor in games here. It's got that perfect spread and weighty kickback, turning anything in front of you into a chunky salsa. You know that feeling you get when you fire a shotgun in a game and you're like, damn, that was really satisfying? Well, Angerfoot captures that feeling and mainlines it straight into your eyeballs. Later in the game though, you'll get your hands on some other crazy weapons too. We're talking about assault rifles, grenade launchers, dual revolvers, crossbows, and even a minigun where it's like you're the Doom guy during his leg day. But honestly, the pistol, SMG, and shotgun are the easiest to use out of the lot. I'm not the biggest fan of the weapons in this game, mainly because my aim is pretty bad and I'm mostly just using the foot. But when it came down to it, it felt like those three were just the most comfortable for me. Oh, and there's a pro tip here. You can throw any weapon if you don't want it anymore. It'll stun your enemy in front of you, letting you close the distance for a face-to-foot conversation. And honestly, it's so satisfying when you pull these off. And for a game that's all about the feet though, the weapons still felt like a solid sidekick, as you don't have to rely on them, but they do really help with crowd control and epic battle sequences. So now we know enough about the firepower, what about those gams? Well, like the masks used in Hotline Miami, each of your shoes give you a special kicking power. So let's have a look at those. So yeah, the shoes here aren't just for show. They've got some game-changing power-ups that make you rethink everything you knew about virtual footwear. I mean, you start off the game barefoot, which does the job, but as you progress, you'll unlock some crazier shoes, crazier than the ones you'll find, say, in Tekkie Town. Completing goals gives you stars, which help you unlock newer pairs, which there are about 25 in total. Some are pretty cool, not gonna lie, but some are just kind of there for show. You've got shoes that make every kick down door explode, turning you into a mobile breaching charge. There's a pair that gives enemies giant heads, perfect for making those headshot challenges a breeze. But my favorites were the holy sandals, which give you an extra life if you get taken down, and also an extra laugh as you watch your dancing killers' surprised faces as you come alive and kill their asses. Then there's these slow-mo shoes that on breaching a door turns the whole world into a slow-mo, so I can relive my Max Payne days, and those slider shoes too, which allow you to slide to kick, which always just looks badass, even if you're going up the escalators. But then you've got like these weird ones, like really weird. I mean, you got these pair of stilettos that the bullets only stun enemies when killing them, not the best. Or there's this one that blows up a door when kicking it, which is cool, but it affects you too. So I died half the time without even realizing it. Also, for those goals, some require you to complete a level using a specific shoe, which yeah, adds to the replayability, which is something I'll get to now, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, for the most part, it's like cool trying out a different shoe, as often they'll give you a different experience every time you play. Now I gotta warn you, Angerfoot can be really brutal. You're gonna die, a lot. It can be frustrating at times, especially during those longer levels where one wrong move can mean death. And I found after playing for about an hour, I really needed to take a break, simply because it was just so intense all the time, especially with that music. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the soundtrack, I love the song, I love hearing it, and they've done a great job here at when, say, you've killed all the enemies in a room, it tones down the music, goes really low, and especially in between levels too. It gives you the sense of calm before the storm, and then when you kick down a door again, it all comes back, and it's like, yeah, give me more of that. But then like after some time, it gets a bit monotonous, I'm not going to lie. I would have liked to have a few more songs on the playlist in different environments. I mean, for example, in Hotline Miami, where Hydrogen by Moon comes on and you're like, holy shit, it's about to go down. Here, I still got the same feeling, but it was often short-lived. And what about the difficulty? How hard is this game? Well, you might be watching this or my gameplay video and think, well, damn, Angerfoot looks really easy. This guy's not even dying. But please note that this is some of my best footage. And it honestly took me a lot longer than I care to admit. So after playing each level for around 4 to 40 times, I know where each enemy is gonna be, and that's what you're gonna be expecting in this game. Oh yeah, and don't even get me started on the extra goals that you need to complete on each level. I mean, complete each level within 25 seconds? Okay, cool. Complete the level without taking any damage? I mean, come on, that's just not even funny. The later levels are especially insane. You'll be faced with rooms full of various enemy types, each requiring a different approach. You've got these lizard men in the beginning with melee weapons, they pretty chilled. But then eventually you're gonna get these guys with guns, these bomb-headed kamikaze freaks, even these armored teddy bears with miniguns. Yeah, you heard me, miniguns. It can be very frustrating at times, I won't lie. But man, when it clicks, when you finally blaze through a level you've been stuck on, leaving nothing but broken doors and bullet casings in your wake, that feeling is pure gaming nirvana. It's a kind of high that'll keep you coming back for that just one more run until you realize it's 3 AM and you've got work in a few hours. When it comes to those boss fights though, they were a bit disappointing. Not only because they were the easiest part of the game, but towards the end, you're not even really using your feet, you're just shooting. And spoilers here, but there's this one pig boss that while you're in its middle form, you're just trying to hit its nipples with a crossbow. It was really disheartening and I almost stopped playing after that. So with all that in mind, is Angerfoot the game for you? Well, if you're a fan of games like Hotline Miami, where it's more about muscle memory for murdering malicious enemies, then yes, get this game right now. For those on the fence though, maybe play the demo first, which gives you a good taste of what to expect, or just watch my gameplay video as I go through the first hour of the game. Is it going to redefine the genre? Honestly, I don't think so. There's just a few too many gripes I have with this game, especially when it comes to that replayability. Like, don't get me wrong, my experience throughout Angerfoot was incredible. I loved it. But after unlocking almost all of the shoes, there wasn't much more to keep me coming back and keep me playing. And with a price point of $25, it is not the cheapest game out there. Although if you live in South Africa, the game is about half the price, which makes it an easy recommendation in my books. But to me, Angerfoot is simply a game where if you want some stress relief after a hard day and you just feel like kicking down some doors and blasting enemies away, then this is the game for you. And that wraps up today's video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, perhaps give it a like, comment, subscribe, maybe become one of my members, and that'll help find the next game for you to get lost in. And don't forget to check out my other videos too, they're pretty cool. They'll be coming up at the end of this video, so yeah, stay tuned for those. But other than that, it's Marco here from Easily Distracted Games, and most of all, don't stop gaming.